Hey, what do you do when you don't feel like drawing? I'm actually going through a bout of it right now, where every time I sit down to do my recordings for these videos, I don't want to draw. I've been drawing for years. I'm done. But no, not actually. But yeah, I have been struggling with feeling the motivation to get my work done. So here are some tips for you, because there are going to be lots of time in your life where you don't want to draw, but you have to because one, you want to get this comic done because you're passionate about it, and comics are great, and you're a powerful person, and sometimes you have to do work because you're being paid and people are relying on you to get this work done. So here's how you push through that awful feeling of like no motivation and get your heckin' work done. As much as I love comics, sometimes they are heckin' hecting. Ooh woo. Oh god, that was the most Ursula sentence I've ever said. Okay, moving along. My first bit of advice, I've said it in other videos in this series, but you utilize timed drawing sessions. They're so good, they're so important. I learned all this stuff from doing the Pomodoro technique, which is where you work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And supposedly it's supposed to get you to focus really well, because you only have to work when the timer's going, and it makes you do lots of work while still getting like little mental breaks. And yeah, I guess it works, but I don't think you have to necessarily do the 25 minutes. You can do whatever time range you want. I definitely recommend keeping your time drawing sessions shorter, because it'll be easier to sit and focus for, say, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes at a time. Maybe like half an hour at the most. Because if you set yourself up where you're like, I'm going to draw for 4 hours, you're not gonna, because that is a very daunting amount of time, and it's very easy for your mind to wander away when you're in the middle of that instead of sitting and focusing for 4 hours. So keep your time sessions short. The great thing is, if they are short, like say you do 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something, you only have to work for that amount of time. And if at the very end of it, you've been drawing, or whatever part of comics you need to do that you don't want to do today, if you get to the end of that time and you don't want to do it anymore, then go take a break and you still got some work done on it today, and that's great. But yeah, I think it really helps to not focus on output and to just focus on effort. So, a timed goal or a timed drawing session is a lot more doable and actionable than saying, I'm going to finish a page today. Because sometimes you can't always finish a page, and that can be really demotivating, and it can feel like you're a failure, or it can really make you doubt yourself. So just relying on hitting time goals instead of like progress goals, it can really just give you that little boost that you need when you need to feel good and feel that motivation. And if you get to the end of that like little work time and you want to do more, set another timer and do it again. And there you go, until you're done, until you're sick of it. I'd also recommend setting deadlines for yourself. So sometimes you're definitely going to have work that has like a deadline. Like say you're like, I need to put out a page at this date. Or if you're working, say, with an editor or a publisher or something, they're going to have deadlines that you have to hit so that they can get things printed. But if you're working by yourself, and I'm sure a lot of you are, and you're setting your own goals, and it can be hard to get things done because there's no definitive end. You're like, I've got this comic script that I'm working on. I'm going to be working on this for probably a few years. And sometimes it can just feel endless. Or you can feel like you're working on the same thing forever. And that can be really demotivating. In fact, that's kind of what I'm going through with 9 Point right now. Because I had a deadline when our Kickstarter was happening. But now that the Kickstarter didn't fund, I'm like, well, I don't know when I'm going to finish this thing. I have more time now to make it look really nice, but I lack motivation. I don't have a ticking clock here on when I have to get this done. So setting a deadline for yourself can really help keep that motivation up and I guess like light a fire under your rear. So if you're setting a deadline, I would really recommend making sure that it is a reasonable deadline. Don't say like, well, I'm going to finish my comic tomorrow, because you're not going to finish your comic tomorrow unless you have 2 pages left. So make sure that it's a very reasonable goal and set lots of small deadlines to hit. That can also help keep you motivated. So say you have like a 100-page comic and you're like, I'm going to finish it by this time next year. So say it's August right now, say like, I'm going to finish it next August. That's pretty reasonable. I think you can do it if you keep on working hard on it and stuff. However, a year is a long time, and it can be a long time to work on something. So I'd recommend setting small little goals in the meantime before that big kind of end deadline. So for example, say like, figure out how many pages you need to do, say every month or every week to reach that goal. Write that down and be like, okay, this Friday, I need X amount of pages done. Next Friday, I need X amount of pages done. And try and hit those as best you can. And of course, there's going to be days where you fall behind or you get ahead. But just having something to strive for in kind of like in the immediate future can be really helpful, build towards that bigger goal. So that you're not sitting around for months being like, oh, I should be working on my comic and I'm so bad at art, and just building up guilt and self-doubt. So just having those little deadlines really, really helps keep you drawing even when you don't want to, because you got to hit that deadline so that you can hit the big deadline at the end. Ooh woo. At least I found this helps me in the past. I don't know. I should probably do this again for 9 Point. I'd also recommend getting someone to help keep you accountable. So for example, I have Bones, who is my lovely writer and co-host of this channel. Co-host? Co-creator? My husband? Anyways, my husband, Bones. He definitely keeps me accountable for my work. If I'm slacking off, he's like, hey, miss, get your work done, and he knows of my art schedule and what I need to get done, so he's very good at tapping me on the shoulder and making me do my work when I'm distracted and putting things off. And I've also done this with, say, like a writing group. I used to hang out with a group of writers where we'd all get our work done together, and yeah, it can really help to have someone there to keep you accountable. I've also had this, in a way, having readers on our webcomics when we had a more regular posting schedule, was I kept thinking, like, there are people waiting who really want to read this, so I better make sure I get this page done in time. So whether it's like a friend for you, maybe like an online community, maybe it's your readers of your webcomic, just get someone who can keep you accountable, who can remind you to do your work. And it's even better if it's like a mutual thing, where you're both, say, friends and you both have comics, or you're working on the same project together and you're both keeping each other accountable and making sure you get your work done, so that it doesn't feel like someone's just harassing you to get your work done all the time and, it's not an equal exchange. But yeah, just get someone who can help motivate you and help keep you on track and cheer you on, because that's also super helpful in a friend. And if right now in your life you don't have any comic friends, I would highly recommend going and checking out our Discord. There's a link in the description down below somewhere, but we have lots of lovely artists there, and writers and comic creators, and you can definitely meet someone who will help you get your work done. So go check it out. I'd also recommend rewarding yourself for getting your work done. Make sure that if you say you do your time session and you finish it, or you make progress in your comic, or even if you just sit down for 5 minutes and poke at your comic when you really, really don't want to draw it, give yourself a reward for doing that. It's like a well-known psychological thing that reward begets the same behavior, whereas punishment doesn't really do that. It's not a good motivator. So if you really want to build up a habit of drawing and being excited to work on things, you need to give yourself little rewards along the way. So if you get a little bit of work done, give yourself a little reward of, like, I don't know, you get to go watch an episode of a show you've been wanting to watch, or you get to hang out on social media for 10 minutes, or whatever is a good reward for you. It can be like entertainment, it can be food, it can be whatever you need that'll motivate you. In the past, Bones and I have used stickers. Like, we'd build little charts for ourselves, and if we got our work done, we'd get a sticker. So we're kindergartners, but sometimes even a little thing like that can be a motivator, especially if it's like a competition or something. It can be really fun. So find something that sets off those good chemicals in your brain whenever you get it, and make sure you get that little reward whenever you do even something small, like working for 15 minutes. Because if you build up that positive association, you're going to want to do it more, and you're probably going to feel that I don't want to draw feeling less. Whereas if you beat yourself up for not drawing and feeling like you don't want to draw, then it's just going to make you not want to draw even more, because you just feel bad whenever you think about it. So bring some positivity in there, because it'll really help motivate you, especially in the future as you build up the good vibes. And finally, if you really are still having trouble with drawing, something that always helps me is looking at things that inspire me. Sometimes it can be like vlogs of people working and getting their work done. It can be vlogs about people talking about their own comic work, or writing stories. It can be reading my favorite comic, or talking to Bones about his plans for our comic. It can be a whole bunch of stuff. It can just be looking at good art or looking at YouTube videos. But just find something that really, you watch it or you read it or you look at it and it just makes you want to work on your own stuff. You know, if your comic's inspired by, say, like a movie or something that you loved, or a game, go play that thing or watch that thing and remember how cool your comic is, and hopefully it'll inspire you to keep working on yours so that it can be as amazing as the thing you're watching right now. So I guess not right now, but the thing that inspires you, you know? So yeah, those are my tips. It can be really hard when you don't want to draw, but you gotta get your art done. I'd also recommend looking into other underlying problems if this is like something that's you've been battling with for a very long time. I know personally, part of the reason I don't want to work on 9 Point right now is because I've had a crazy week where I just feel like I've been cursed a little bit, because like a whole bunch of really stressful, awful things have happened this week, and like it's no wonder that I don't want to work on comics, because life feels like it's falling apart a little bit. It's getting better, so don't worry about me. If you're dealing with, say, like mental health problems, if you're dealing with stress in your life, don't be surprised if you don't feel like drawing. Sometimes you need to take a break and focus on feeling better emotionally and physically, as I talked about in my hiatus video. But if you're just having a day where like nothing particularly is wrong, but you just don't feel like drawing, I would recommend all these things that I have listed here. So yeah, I hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out our Discord, or I don't know, make sure to subscribe if you're new. We have lots of lovely talks about comics coming at you all the time. And yeah, thanks again for watching. You guys are sweet. Good luck with your art. I believe in you. I'm struggling too, but we can do it. We're powerful. We're full of good energy and positivity. Heck yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go because I gotta get to work. So yeah, goodbye.